Hey everyone, I'm the Black Dahlia and welcome to my channel. So today I'm doing a piece. I was going to record and then I was like, no, I won't. And then I thought, you know what the heck. So I went ahead and hit record, so that's why this was already started up. Anywho, the piece today is fan art of The Heathers, which was a cult classic movie in the late 80s and transitioned into a musical around mid-2000s, I think. But, it's about a girl named Veronica and her high school life, and I'll leave it there for anybody that wants to go watch it. It's pretty good. What I'm doing are the, two subordinate characters and the main character. Their relationship's kind of, it was Mean Girls before Mean Girls was a thing. It was the first, I think. It's the oldest Mean Girls movie I can think of. So, just think of it that way. Think of Chandler, which is the red-lined one, as Regina, and Duke as, I guess, what's her name? The one with all the secrets and the big curly hair. That would be Duke. And then Veronica would be Cassie. But they're all, different. I don't know, they're way meaner, honestly, when it comes down to it. Then again, that Regina phone scene thing was kinda mean. Can't say it wasn't. Not the point here. Point is, I wanted to do a piece on their, relationship, what I imagine their lives look like, inside of school, outside school, Heather, Duke, and Chandler were friends before Veronica and them, and, this sounds weird out of context, so y'all should really go, take a look and watch a couple things, so you're not completely lost. But, I wanted to illustrate, Heather Duke's insecurity, her jealousy, her disdain for Veronica and Chandler's relationship, not necessarily just Chandler, but what they act like when they're together. Because I imagine that Duke is Chandler's oldest friend, her original best friend, and then they started having a falling out because Chandler is an all bee, all queen bee. She is the mighty, and she just has to be on top. She has to be on top of everything. The main school color, hers. Lead title, hers. She makes the rules, the decisions. She's the leader. And, of course, that would make, anybody feel kind of irritated after a while. Why can't I do that? Why are you any better than I am? So, Heather Duke kind of represents a lot of, jealousy and whatnot, and it's kind of fitting with her color, because, they each have assigned colors, which I'm pretty sure are supposed to be the school colors. Yellow, green, red, and blue. What do you know? Ain't that crazy? Yet the yellow Heather is not in this illustration. We'll save her for another time. I'm working on a piece for her currently. I don't think it'll be next week's video, but it'll be a video, I promise. Anywho, Heather Duke is green, which is often associated with, envy, which I thought was interesting, because I don't think, I'm not sure how much thought directors put into, color association, but that was pretty interesting to me. I also thought it was interesting when I was looking into the background. I'll explain it later. But there's this thing that, if they really were thinking about it, they thought about a lot of things that I didn't think about when watching the movie. So I thought it was interesting. We'll get there when we get there, though. Anyway, back to topic. Her color is green, which is associated heavily with envy, and it suits her really well because her whole character is driven by that. It's like her entire build is being envious of Veronica, Chandler, even Heather McNamara to a degree, which is why I think later on in the show she's so mean, the way she acts towards McNamara. But it's just, what else you gonna do, right? So, getting past that, I just wanted to illustrate that part where they're in high school now, and her and Chandler aren't the best of friends anymore. But now Chandler has a new bestie, quotations, because Chandler's not the best friend, but like none of the relationships in this movie or musical is very healthy, nor do I think should be replicated. So there's that. um, but she's got a new bestie, and she replaced her, and there's like a depth to Duke that is completely ignored because she's Duke. No one likes her. She's incredibly, like, she becomes one heck of a bitch later on in the show, in the movie. Like, she gets bad. But in the beginning, you know, she's really sympathetic and at the core, kind of pathetic in a lot of ways. And it's kind of just like sad to see her character become what it is. Because not a lot of people really like her all that much, which is a given. No one really likes anybody who's really like that. But there were like little aspects to her personality other than being completely and utterly horrible to people around her. And like, I think that was like all of Chandler's dynamic in the musical, and it was the same for Duke, but in the movie they have a bit more depth than that. Like, Duke likes reading, for example. She loves reading. It's like something that makes her smile. She finds it relaxing, things like that. Just like Chandler's illustrated in a way that paints her hating herself. Like, she has an incredibly low self-esteem. And it's a scene in the movie that I think is very, like, visually stimulating. When she does it, it's very fast, and you'll miss it if you're not paying attention, but it's worth seeing because it says a lot about her character, and I can imagine that a lot of people can relate to it personally. But, that's so not the point. The point is, she's replacing Duke, and Duke probably hates Veronica for it, because Veronica likes to write. So, like, there goes her niche, pretty much, like, the intellectual portion of her addition to the group. And Veronica is pretty to Chandler, which she doesn't really say it in a nice way, but I imagine Chandler's way of complimenting people is never a direct compliment. It's illustrated in the musical when, in the bathroom scene, she says, "For a greasy little nobody, you do have good bone structure," which is basically just thrashing on the fact that she comes from the lowest of low. She's like, "For someone who's poor, you look cute though. I guess you can hang with us. Quickly, get me some blush and mascara so we can fix this." And that's how that starts in the musical. So, I picture her, like, later on, like, this universe, this timeline, she has, like, longer hair, and she gets a haircut, and Heather Chandler notices, and she's just all like, "Wow, I really like your hair. It makes your face look less like your face," which is nice. And to Veronica, that's not even close to a compliment, so she's not sure how to, like, react to it. Like, she's just like, "I think that's nice, thank you." But to Duke, I imagine she recognizes that that's her acknowledging in the way that Chandler acknowledges that she looks good. So she's envious and jealous of Veronica because the relationship she has with Chandler. And that's just what ended up spawning out the photo. But in other aspects of it, I want to talk about the actual illustration itself. I tried to do something more modern. I did have to, like, literally get on YouTube and search for a hallway scene because I wanted it to be accurate. So I went in there and I was looking and I was looking and I was looking, and I noticed there is a lot of green in that school. Like, there's only like a little bit of red, and it's in the icon and the cheerleading outfits. Like, it's hardly ever present throughout the actual school, which I thought was really interesting considering that Chandler chose red as her color. Since I believe it's supposed to be school colors, you would think that she would choose the most present color, but I guess she just chose, like, the color that the team has, which is, I guess, red. because that's the school icon color. I just thought it was really odd. I've never been in a school that had like a majority of one color and then like their like t-shirts and cheerleading outfits or something represent a different color. It's kind of odd, honestly. I just thought it was weird. But continuing past that, I had to find a hallway photo because I wanted it to be accurate to the movie. And it took forever to seek out that stupid hallway scene at the end of the movie because I didn't know where it was at. I've seen the movie so many times and I just could not find it, so that took a bit. And when I did find it, I had to like scale it and make sure it was accurate, and the floors were kind of blurry, so I had the worst time differentiating what was going on with that, so I just kind of guessed and hoped that that was accurate, so I'm sorry if it's not. With everything else, a lot of my focus went into their clothing, because I think clothing is a direct association with a person. I was gonna do a astrological sign, like a constellation, on Veronica's necklace, and then I didn't because I didn't know what kind of constellation she'd have, and I decided to be lazy and I didn't bother just doing the research, and I'm kind of mad at myself for it. I'm not gonna lie. But with everything else, I chose to give her like ripped jeans because she's not as fancy as them. She doesn't really care all that much. She's just doing the most she has to do to get by. In the words of Be More Chill, she just wants to survive. Okay? And I gave her an oversized flannel because I imagine with all the tight clothing or whatever, like the tight v-neck shirt she's wearing and the pants with holes in it that are like high-waisted, she'd want something more comfortable that she's more used to wearing, so of course she's wearing like a rolled up oversized flannel. And of course I wanted to implement like the plaid because plaid's a big staple in Heather's, so I implemented it into her flannel. With Chandler, I wanted to give her a more like stylized, fancy look. Like, I imagine she has a more mature kind of wear, and she'd be the one to drape the jacket over her shoulder instead of actually wearing it. And with Duke, I decided to do something really simple. You know, high-waisted pants, but one of those exposed v-neck ones with like the lace over the boobs, because in the musical she has chest implants, and I imagine she'd want to show those off because you don't pay that much to keep them covered. I'm sorry, you don't. So that's just what I did for her, or at least that's how I imagine she might be. I don't know, maybe you do have chest implants and you cover them up. I'm not sure. I've never done it, so I can't say. But that's why I did that for her. It's real simple. But so is Duke. Duke is simple to me. She doesn't want a whole lot. She just wants more than what she has. And it just makes her one of those characters that are really anxious to be somewhere more, to have something more. And that's essentially the piece. I don't know if I mentioned it, but Heather Duke has a book because she reads in the movie. She likes books. I mentioned that earlier, I believe. So I gave her that to show a bit of movie homage. And then with Veronica, I gave her a journal because she likes to write, and the smaller book is supposed to be her diary in the front. Outside of that, I think that's everything. Scrunchies are a big thing in the show, so I gave them all a scrunchie, even though Veronica's not wearing it. That's just, to me, her idea of being a bit rebellious. So, yeah. Thank y'all for tuning in. I'm sorry if this is random and all over the place, but hopefully it'll get better. I will see you all next week. If y'all are interested, like the video and subscribe below. Hit that notice bell. I'll see y'all next Friday. Thank y'all. Bye.